Good afternoon, everyone. Today topic will be the test held on Saturday. Discussion will be based on how we pick the topic from the newspaper and how the statements are framed from those topic. Some of the information were present in the newspaper, but some of the information are extracted from your syllabus. So it will be better to understand how the statement were picked and how you can read a newspaper whenever you are reading a topic, and how you can link those topic with your syllabus and with the approach of the UPSC specific questions. So some of the sources we are following, like the Hindu, Indian Express, Main, Down to Earth, Times of India, Yojana, Hindustan Times, and the Science Reporters. We are trying to cover as much as we can. But there is no need to go beyond one newspaper. If you are reading, you can follow any one of them, like a Hindu or the Indian Express. That are enough for you. Other, leave on us. We will cover it. So the question number 1 was in the test was about the Gobind Bhog rice. Why the Gobind Bhog rice in the news? Recently, the Bengal CM seek exemption on customs duty for the Gobind Bhog rice. Specifically, the Bengal CM asked to the central government, please remove the custom duty from the export of the Gobind Bhog rice. So here what's become important for us is the Gobind Bhog rice. And why the government is asking for removing the custom duty? Because in basmati rice, if we export the basmati rice, mainly grown in the Haryana, Punjab region of India, in basmati rice there is exemption of the custom duty, 20% exemption of the custom duty. Means if we are exporting rice to the other country, basmati rice to the other country, there is no custom duty. Similarly, the same take was asked by the Mamata Banerjee for the Gobind Bhog rice. So Gobind Bhog rice is from the district of West Bengal. It's a GI tag variety. GI tag means the geographical indicator variety given by the GI registry. And the GI registry comes under DPIIT, Department of Promotion of Industrial Trades. So GI tag registry is come under the DPIIT. So it's become important. So GI registry comes under the DPIIT, and why they are asking for the custom duty. So now come to the statements. With reference to the Gobind Bhog rice, consider the following statement. One is it is a special variety of rice from the Mathura district of Uttar Pradesh. But the CM of the West Bengal is asking for the custom duty. So the first statement will not be correct, because it is a variety of rice from the West Bengal. So first statement will not be correct. The second statement is it has been granted geographical indicator status by the Geographical Indicator Registry. Yes, this is true. This is granted as a GI status by the Geographical Indicator Registry. So it is also important to know other rice which are having a GI tag. Like in recently last week discussion, we discussed about the Pokali rice. Pokali rice. It is a salt-resistant variety from the Kerala. This variety also given a GI tag. So both of the rice were in the news. Maybe they can ask about match the following questions, given a 3-4 variety of rice and asking for the GI tag, or maybe they can give from which state which variety of rice is related. So you need to know what are the specific things about this Gobind Bhog rice and from where its name derived, Gobind Bhog. It's a very having a high aroma variety, very small in size and the white in color. Gobind Bhog name is derived from because they offer this rice to their deity. जो वहां के गॉड माने जाते हैं उनके लिए स्पेसिफिकली प्रेफरेंस होता है सबसे पहले. तो देयर आर डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम द गोविंद. द गोविंद is word derived from the deity. So the name is given to Gobind Bhog rice. And this is from the Burdwan district of West Bengal. Burdwan district of West Bengal. It will be better if you can write the information, because these information are not available at the one place. So it will be better if you can carry out some page and paper and you can write it. Okay, so the rice is from the West Bengal, having some specific aromatic variety, and this variety of rice is having the climate resilient, like it's having less effect of the climate change. If there is a less amount of rain, this rice variety can survive. Another major important thing about this rice, the production capacity of this rice is very high as compared to other rice, and the price is about near about 160 rupee per kg. Means this is beneficial for the farmers as well. If there are other variety, they are having a price range of 50, 60, 40, 70, but this variety is having a range of 160 per kg. So this can be a option for increasing the income of the farmers, as well as if the export of this rice will be increased, then it will be beneficial for India as well. So this is all about the Gobind Bhog rice. So we can see the image of this rice. This is the variety of the rice having a very small grains and the white in the color. So it become very important whenever you are reading about a GI tag variety. It's about the rice. Sometimes it's about the Pashmina shawls. There are also the GI variety from Kashmir itself. So it should be important कि आप किस फोकस से उसको पढ़ रहे हैं. पहला variety is from which states or which region specifically. Sometimes they can ask about the district as well. So it's important to know it's from the Burdwan district of West Bengal. Second thing important, you need to know about the GI tags. What is exactly the GI tags? In India, GI tags is given by and under which ministry and under which department they are come, DP, IIT, and the given by GI registry. Okay, and DPIIT is comes under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Then it is a GI is a intellectual property rights. Means this is a intellectual property rights. If the GI tag is given to any variety, then it's come under the IP Act of India. Commerce and Industry, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this is about the Gobind Bhog rice. The second question was ethanol blended petrol program. Ethanol blended petrol program. Why this was in news? This is from the All India Radio News on Air. Recently, the Cabinet Committee approved the mechanism for ethanol procurement by public sector oil marketing companies under the ethanol blended petrol program. So a process is designed from where the public sector company buy the ethanol from the different companies. कैसे buy करेंगे ethanol variety को from the farmers as well as the sugar producing company. So this was the news. So from this news, what is important for us? What is the ethanol blended petrol program? And what was the objective behind to introducing the blending of petrol with the 20% of ethanol? And what is the target for India when we are going to achieve this 20% of ethanol blending with the petrol? So mainly there were the three targets. First objective was to reduce the import of oil from other country. If there is a 20% mixing of ethanol, then it having some impact on the import of oil. Second, to reduce the carbon emission. Reduce the carbon emission. And third, to increase the income of farmer. This is the income of farmers. If we buying like ethanol from sugar mills, then the rate given by the sugar mills to the farmer will be increased by the central governments because we are using that ethanol for reducing our imports and which having a higher burden on our economy. If you think in 2021, India imported $550 billion of oil from other country. $550 billion of oil from the other country. So it is a target of India. So we can start a blending of ethanol in petrol. So the burden of import can be decreased on the country. Currently, we have reached to a 10% of ethanol blending. If I'm precise, 9.9%. We already achieved the 9.9% of ethanol blending in the petrol. But our target is to reach 20% by 2025 and 26. Initially, it was the 2030, but now it is decreased to the 2025 and 2026. So this is a general information about the ethanol blending petrol program. Related to this, there is another topic as well regarding the biofuels. So you need to learn about the biofuel as well. What is the primary biofuel, first generation biofuel, second generation biofuel, third generation biofuel. So you can link this topic with biofuels as well. So it becomes responsibility of you to please read about the biofuels. What are the primary generation, secondary generation, tertiary generation, and quaternary generation. So you can see how we can link the topic of our syllabus with a single news. What should be our focus when we are reading a news? So let's come to the question. What is question is saying? So the first statement of question was the program incentive value addition in the sugar industry, enabling them to clear cane prices areas for the farmers. Means cane prices areas means यहाँ पे if there is any incentive for the farmers, like the production of sugarcane is going on in India, and we are the second largest producer in the world. And if there is some areas for the farmers, they will produce more, which will contribute this program, which will contribute to the ethanol blending program. And this increase the capacity of the sugar mill owners to pay the payment of the farmers, which are stuck like the for 1 year, 2 years के लिए stuck हो जाता है because of the गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट की वजह से फाइनेंस जो होता है उनके पास कम होता है, उसकी वजह से पेमेंट नहीं कर पाते हैं. इफ दे आर लिंक विद दिस प्रोग्राम, they can easily clear the areas of the farmers. Means overall target is third objective, to increase the farmer income. So the first statement is correct. The second statement, the Indian government has set the target of 20% ethanol blending in petrol by 2030. So this statement is not correct. Now the target is 2025 and 2026. 2025, 2026 is the now target to achieve 20% of blending of the petrol. So this is all about the ethanol blending of petrol and why the ethanol blending of petrol is started and what is the objective behind the blending of petrol. Under which ministry this is come? Anybody? Ministry of Petroleum. Yeah, this is comes under the Ministry of Petroleum. The third question was about the Vanuatu Island. Vanuatu Island. Why this question was in the news? Recently, the president of Vanuatu in the UN General Assembly said that we have to start a non-proliferation treaty for the non-use of fossil fuel, for banning of the fossil fuel worldwide. Why the statement is given by the Vanuatu president? Because of the climate change effect of the fossil fuels and the negative effect of the fossil fuel on the climates due to the release of the very dangerous gases like the carbon dioxide, methane, and the NO2. So the president said in the UNGA. अगर generally बोलते तो इतना ज़्यादा important नहीं था हमारे लिए, but they said in the United Nations General Assembly regarding the banning of fossil fuel globally. So this is an important statement from the president, but the location of the island is also become the important because sometimes they ask about the island. एक बात आपको नोट कर लेना चाहिए, कोई भी रैंडम क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी इज नॉट आस्किंग. आउट ऑफ 100 क्वेश्चन मे बी द 5-6 क्वेश्चन जो रैंडमली हो सकते हैं, बट उससे ज्यादा रैंडम क्वेश्चन नहीं होते. देयर इज सम लॉजिक बिहाइंड व्हाई दे आर आस्किंग दोज क्वेश्चंस. So if the Vanuatu in news, it's become our responsibility where it is located, any other island nearby Vanuatu, and the climate of Vanuatu, if there is any volcano in the Vanuatu. If you remember in Indonesia in 2021, they asked a question on Indonesia related to the volcano eruption. So there is also active volcano in the Vanuatu. So it's become responsibility ki Vanuatu, where the Vanuatu is located, what is the active volcano in the Vanuatu, and what is the climate of the Vanuatu. These things are important. And the fourth one, other islands nearby Vanuatu. So they can ask the sequence from north to south, from the or south to north. So we will see as well. So let's come to the statement first. It is an archipelago in the South Pacific Ocean. Archipelago means group of islands in the South Pacific Ocean. अगर आपको exactly नहीं पता है, so this is a factual information. Without, अगर आपको direct नहीं पता तो you cannot answer this where this is located. It is an archipelago in the South Pacific Ocean. Yes, this statement is correct. Second statement is the island are mountainous and of volcanic origin. Yes, there is an active volcano in Vanuatu Island. It is a terrestrial ecoregion with a subtropical climate. So ये आपको clear होना चाहिए. It's a tropical climate or the subtropical climate. तो जब आप इसके बारे में पढ़ोगे तो यू विल सी देयर इज अ टू टाइप ऑफ स्पीसीज ऑफ प्लांट्स इज फाउंड that can be easily grown in the tropical as well as the subtropical climate, but the overall climate of Vanuatu is subtropical. So all the statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. So you can see the Vanuatu is Mount Tebwensma 6158 is an active volcano in the Vanuatu island. Mount Tebwensma height is 6,158 feet is an active volcano in Vanuatu. Let's see the location of the Vanuatu on a map. So this is the Vanuatu Island in the South Pacific Ocean, and the nearby islands are the New Caledonia, a French territory, Solomon Island, Nauru Island, and the Kiribati Island. So they can ask the information, arrange the island from north to south direction. They can give the option Kiribati, Nauru, Solomon, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, or maybe they can ask from south to north. So it's become like you need to remember. If any island in news, अगर आपने map आपके room पे तो you can mark there कि this island was in the news. So you can see the island on daily basis and it become आपको याद हो जाएगा कि हाँ ये island news में है and these are the nearby islands to this island. Next question is about the saffron cultivation. Anybody, where is the world most saffron cultivation in which country? Yes, Iran is cultivating 90% of the world saffron. 90% of the world saffron from Iran. And in India, it is mainly from the Kashmir region. In India, it is mainly from the Kashmir region. And the news was this year saffron failed to spice up tourist real life in the Kashmir. Mainly the Kashmir government invited the student to see the cultivation of saffron and to see the flower of saffron and how the saffron is extracted from those flowers. And the one other region, because of the climate change, the external growth of the saffron is impacted. So they are growing a saffron in the internal environment or the artificial environments. So that technique also shows to the students. So here, what is important for us? Saffron, its uses of saffron, as well as in which area in India it is grown. So the question was, which of the following statement is correct about saffron cultivation? Saffron is a long, dark and red color spice. So saffron is a very costly spice और सबसे ज्यादा costly मेरे ख्याल से saffron ही है spices में. Nearly 90% of the world saffron is grown in India. So this statement is not correct. 90% of saffron of the world is grown in Iran. If you see, you know this statement is not correct, you can eliminate easily. Answer will be 1 and 3. If you know the second statement is not correct, the world saffron, most saffron is grown in the Iran. So you can directly mark the answer C, 1 and 3. Third statement is saffron products are used in food, medicine and the cosmetic industry. आजकल सबसे ज्यादा यूज हो रहा है medicine and the cosmetic industries में. In the food, like in our daily life, they are using some color and saying that this is saffron. But the mainly use of saffron is in the cosmetic industry as well as in the medicinal industry, because medicinal use है saffron का बहुत ज्यादा है, even during the pregnancy or after the pregnancy of a woman, as well as in the other disease. And this is extracted from the crocus flower. You can write this is a unique information. It is plucked from the crocus flower, that the stigma of which produce saffron. So this can be which part of flower is used as a saffron. Which part of flower? This is obtained from the stigma of the flower. Stigma of the flower. It is obtained from the stigma of the flower, and the flower name is crocus flower. So you can write. The next question is about the tribal dance. Recently, the National Tribal Dance Festival held in the Chhattisgarh. So it's become important to know about the festival as well as the different type of tribal dance in the country. Like the state-wise tribal dance, because if there is any dance in a festival is performed, that is important, but some other dance they can ask related to that. So this is the new pattern of the UPSC. How many pairs are correct? If you know the 3 pairs, 1, 2, 3, then तब भी आप इसको आंसर नहीं कर सकते हैं. तो इस टाइप के केस में you need to know all the 4 pairs. So this is exactly the factual question. So you need to know all the pairs, like 2022, in 2022, there are the 6-7 questions in the UPSC paper regarding this type of pattern. सो यू नीड टू नो ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन. अगर आपको 3 भी पता है तब भी नहीं आंसर कर सकते, 2 पता तब भी नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज देयर इज नो एलिमिनेशन. आप इसमें एलिमिनेट नहीं कर सकते हैं. सो whenever you are reading any news about the festival, तो आपको उसके आसपास के स्टेट्स के फेस्टिवल or some of the important festival as per the UPSC perspective. You can see the trend of the festival from the previous year question. The focus of the UPSC, mainly they ask the festival from the Northeast India. Northeast India, like from the Nagaland, from the Mizoram, from the Meghalaya, they asking some specific festival. But this is from the Central India, so we need to know if there is any other tribal festival in North India as well, in the MP, in Haryana, in Rajasthan, if there is anyone, so we can list there. So in this question, the first option was Bagurumba dance, and the option is Uttarakhand, but the Bagurumba dance is related from Assam. Bardo-cham is from Arunachal Pradesh, Raut Nacha from Chhattisgarh, and the Fugri from Goa. These 3 options are correct, but the first option, Bagurumba dance is from Assam. So the answer will be only 3 pairs are correct. जब तक हमें चारों का नहीं पता होगा तो we cannot mark our answer. So you can write the some of the other dances from the North Indian region. Bagurumba is from Assam, and that is mentioned in the question itself. Nati is from the Himachal Pradesh. Ras Leela from Haryana. Dumhal from the Jammu and Kashmir. And this was one of the option in 2015-16 in UPSC paper. यूपी में भी है, लेकिन मेनली ओरिजिन जो स्टेट है वो हरियाणा है, इसलिए द वी कैन अबाउट द ओरिजिन स्टेट्स. इफ यू सी द सम ऑफ द जीआई टैग आइटम्स आर आल्सो मैन्युफैक्चर्ड इन सम अदर स्मॉल एरिया, बट द मेजर एरिया, द मेजर प्रोडक्शन हाउस वी आर नोटिफाइड, एंड वही उसी को हम उसका आंसर मानते हैं जहां पे मेजरली वो प्रोड्यूस होता है. सो दिस इज द हरियाणा इज द ओरिजिन स्टेट ऑफ द रासलीला. Dumhal from the Jammu and Kashmir. Dufmutu from the Kerala, and the Greeder dance from the Madhya Pradesh. So you can write about all these festival of or the tribal dances in India. The main idea behind this discussion is the linkage. How you can linkage the newspaper statements, newspaper issue from your syllabus, and what type of question can be framed. So let's come to the next question. This is about the governor. Recently, the memorandum seeking removal of governor R.N. Ravi submitted to Rashtrapati Bhavans by the DMK. So this is from the Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu CM submitted a report to the Rashtrapati Bhavan regarding the removal of the governor. So anybody know under which article the governor can be removed and who has the power to remove the governor? So governor is working under the pleasure of the president. So president only having the power to remove a governor, but president on aid and advice of Council of Minister appointed the governor. So it means indirectly we can say the central government has a power to remove and appoint a governor, but officially if there is an option of the central government as well as the president, so we will mark the president as the answer, because as per the constitution only the president has a power to appoint and remove a governor. Okay. So which of the following article of the Indian Constitution says the governor will normally be aided and advised by the Council of Ministers except in those functions of discretion? The question is, except the discretion, under which article the governor can be advised by the Council of Ministers? Article 161 is about the pardon power of governor. Article 163 is about the aid and advice of Council of Ministers to governor. Article 168 is about the legislature, about the state assembly and the state council, means the 2 houses of state. And Article 171 about the legislative council members of state, how the members of legislative council in a state can be selected. So you need to know some of the important articles from the constitution, like the president articles, pardon power of presidents, council of ministers, central council of ministers, and the article related to the parliament, appointment of judges, appointment of high court judges, appointment of supreme court judges. So these are some of the important articles in the constitution. So you need to remember the numbers of the article. This kind of information is useful in the state examination because they are asking, like if you are attempting the UPPCS or the HCS, they are giving the articles and you need to match the followings. which article is related to which functions. So the answer of this question will be B, the article 163. Under the article 163, governor will be advised by the Council of Ministers. 171 is about the election of the members of Legislative Council, State Legislative Council. Question number 7. Question number 7 is about the EPFO. Recently, the Supreme Court passed a judgment regarding the EPFO pension scheme, EPS schemes. We can know that this is a EPS scheme. This scheme was amended in 2014. But recently, the Supreme Court struck down this amendment regarding the scheme. So the overall news about what was the amendment all about? If any person is having a salary of 15,000 or above, if he is joining a pension scheme, then he need to pay 1.15% of his salary as a contribution to the EPFO fund. And the other can be funded by the central government. If you're working anywhere, if you are joining a EPFO scheme, then it's an idea the half of your contribution is paid by your employer and half of the contribution is paid by employee. Then finally, from the EPFO, you can get the amount on a yearly basis, or you can remove in बीच में भी आप उसको निकाल सकते हैं. But in this amendment, what I was saying that जिसकी सैलरी 15,000 से ज्यादा है, they need to pay an extra amount of 1.15%. And इसमें कुछ एक ऐसा क्लोज भी डाला गया कि if you are having the salary amount above this amount, you cannot join this scheme. But Supreme Court recently said that this is an ultra vires of the Constitution, means this is a not valid, and so we have struck down this clause from the 2014 amendment. And the Supreme Court says that we are giving the 4 months those who are not enrolled during that scheme, so they can enroll now. So this is all about this EPS pension scheme, Employment Provident Fund pension scheme, and the EPS pension scheme comes under the EPFO, Employment Performance Fund Organization, Employee Provident Fund Organization. So the question is on the EPFO. हाँ, इसके लिए एक specific है. The Supreme Court deliver its judgment under the Article 142. What is Article 142? Discretion power of the Supreme Court. This is about the discretion power of the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court think यहाँ पे justice नहीं मिल रहा है इस case में, the case can be X, Y, Z, then the Supreme Court use its discretion power and give judgment, or can declare anything ultra vires if it not according to the Constitution or it is not in the public welfare. So in this Supreme Court judgment, they use the Supreme Court discretionary power under the Article 142 and declare the EPS amendment of 2014 as ultra vires. So the article of 142 is also become the important. The first statement was with reference to the Employment Provident Fund Organization. Consider the following statements. The EPFO is a statutory organization within the Ministry of Labor and Employee Government of India. This is a correct statement or not? This is a correct statement. Second statement, EPFO is responsible for regulating and managing PF in India, as well as managing social security agreements with other countries that have bilateral treaty with India. So here the security agreement with the bilateral treaty with India. We are also controlling the managing the social security agreements with the other country that having a bilateral treaty with India. This is correct or not correct? Question is asking which of the statements given above is or not correct. So answer will be yes. Both the statements are correct, but in the second statement you can see most of you, if you अगर आपने पढ़ा नहीं है तो they can mark this statement as wrong. Because EPFO is a national organization and how it can handle and manage the social security agreement with the other country. But this is under the function of the EPFO, they can manage and the social security agreements under the country that having a bilateral treaty with the India. So here what is the important EPFO? It's a statutory body under the Ministry of Labor. Ministry of Labor. You need to know also the functions and objective of EPFO. Function and objective of EPFO and the discretionary power of the Supreme Court. Discretionary power, because this judgment is about the discretionary power of the Supreme Court. So you need to know under which article the discretionary power of Supreme Court comes. So you can relate this topic with the two topics. One is the polity and the governance, other is the pension schemes, government pension schemes. So you can link both this with the and the ultra vires of the constitution. It can damage मतलब basic structure को जो impact करेगा और जो citizen welfare में नहीं होगा और according to article of constitution के नहीं होगा, that can be declared as a ultra vire. Next question was about the adaptation gap report. The adaptation gap report is released by United Nations Environmental Program. So this report is adaptation gap. If you see that there is some gap between the finance and the implementation. Recently, the adaptation gap report 2022 is released by the United Nations Environmental Program, and the main highlight of the report was that there is a lack of finance as per the COP15 of the Paris Agreement. But the report is saying the country is taking the initiative for the implementation, for the climate change, but the finance available by the country is not enough to implement those schemes. So means if I am designing any scheme, मान लो कि मैंने PDS डिजाइन कर दिया और मैं उसको फंड ही नहीं कर रहा हूँ, तो scheme cannot be successful. So main idea कि जो climate change के लिए हम लोग steps ले रहे हैं that are not enough to reduce the temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius or reduce the emission of the greenhouse gas. So the mainly report highlight about the finance as well as the implementation of the steps taken by the country. Any other reports released by the UNEP? Emission gap report. So you can write the 2-3 reports by the UNEP. One is the adaptation gap report, then is the emission gap report, and then you can write global environment outlook. Global environment outlook, and this is a new report of the UNEP, so this can be important. Frontier 2022. So these are the mainly four reports that is relevant for the UPSC examination: adaptation gap reports, emission gap reports, global environment outlook, and the Frontier 2022. These are the four main reports are released by the United Nations Environmental Program. ये सारी क्लाइमेट चेंज से रिलेटेड ही, क्लाइमेट एंड एनवायरनमेंट चेंज से रिलेटेड ही रिपोर्ट्स हैं. इन्होंने मेनली एक केस स्टडी को भी मेंशन किया था और यहाँ पे इन्होंने स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन किया था कि डैमेज बाय द क्लाइमेट चेंज रिसेंटली, like if you see the Pakistan floods, in that flood the 60% of Pakistan is flooded by the some अचानक से ही कुछ रेन हुआ, उसकी वजह से 60% ऑफ पाकिस्तान में वाटर ही वाटर था, और जिसकी वजह से जो हमारी आईबीसी साइट्स थी, मोहनजोदड़ो साइट्स, इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन साइट्स थी, वो भी वहां पे एकदम कंप्लीटली डैमेज हो गई. तो जिसकी वजह से इन्होंने बोला कि वी आर स्टडीइंग अबाउट द डिफरेंट इवेंट्स इन द वर्ल्ड एंड व्हिच इज शोइंग दैट वी आर नॉट टेकिंग द एनफ एफर्ट्स टू स्टॉप दिस क्लाइमेट चेंज. वी आर implementing, our implementation is very low and the finance given by the country, even the developing country or the developed country, are very less to stop these changes. So this was the main statement of the report. Next question is about which of the following reports is released by the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. It is a UN agency. FAO is a UN agency. I mean the headquarters in Rome, Italy. Recently, the State of Food and Agriculture flagship report. State of Food and Agriculture reports are released by the FAO. What was in the report? Report is saying that if we are using technology in the farming, then we can easily achieve the sustainable development goal. If we are using technology in the farming before harvesting or after harvesting, in both the cases, if we are using the technology in the farming, then we can easily achieve the sustainable development goals. Technology it may be the tractor or it may be the artificial intelligence. From tractor to the artificial intelligence, any technology we are using in the farming, it will help to reduce the gaseous emission as well as to achieve the sustainable development goals. The study carried out by in this report, the State of Food and Agriculture reports, and they are carry out 16 to 70 case study, and some of the 20 to 30 organization which are using the technology, and out of those 20 to 30 organization, 10 to 15 organization shows that if the technology are using carefully in the agriculture, then we can easily achieve the SDG, and those companies are also the profitable company in this area. They are saying if we are providing the mechanization of the farming, using the technology in the farmings, so they are the unicorn company of that area, as well as they are the profitable company in this field. And if the technology become very useful in the farming sector as well in the agriculture sector, before harvesting and after harvesting cases, then we can easily reach the sustainable development goals regarding the farming. So in this report, the main thing is about the statement, what the report is saying, but other thing, what are the some other reports released by the FAO? So there are the 4-5 reports. Some other reports are released by the Food and Agriculture Organization. The first is the State of Food and Agriculture Flagship Report. Second is the State of World Forest Report, is also released by the FAO. Third, the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World Report. This is also released by the FAO. And the fourth report, the State of Agriculture Commodity Market Reports. So these all 4 reports are released by the Food and Agriculture Organization. So there can be match the following question from the UNEP as well as the FAO. Sometimes the Global Hunger Index can be mixed with it. Global Hunger Index to confuse with the agriculture as well as the hunger. And other reports is released by FAO, the Global Hunger Hotspot Report. Sorry, Hunger Hotspot Report. Global Hunger Hotspot Report. This is confusing with the Global Hunger Index, but both are different. Global Hunger Hotspot Report is released by the FAO. You can write these reports about the State of Food and Agriculture reports, State of World Fishery and Aquaculture, SOFIA. This is also released by the FAO. The State of World Fisheries and the Aquaculture reports is also released by the FAO. Some of the sister organization of the FAO are the World Food Program and the International Fund for Agriculture Developments. So these are some of the sister organization of the FAO which are helping the FAO to releasing these reports. World Food Program and the International Fund for the Agriculture Development helping FAO to release these reports. Next question is about the new honeybee species found in the Western Ghats. A new honeybee species endemic to Western Ghat found. If you see in the 2022 paper, there was a question on the Gucci mushroom. Similar type of headlines was in the newspaper, and they asked about the what is Gucci. Gucci was recently in the news. What it is related to? It's a fungal species. It's a mushroom species, and the one statement was on the habitat. So recently the new species of Apis caryzodium was found in the Western Ghats. So they can ask like Apis caryzodium was recently mentioned in the news. It is related to. It's a bird species. It's a animal species. It's a snake species, or it's a fossils of dinosaurs. Like in 2019, they asked about the same on the same pattern. XYZ was in the news, and this is related to. It's a bird species. It's a fish species. And some even in the 2022, they ask about the golden mahashir. Golden mahashir is related to which species? It's a bird, it's a fish species. And so this type of question can also be asked on this honeybee species. So the first statement of this question was, it has evolved from the Apis cerana morphotypes that got acclimatized to tropical rainforest of the northeast. The species is found in the Western Ghats, then how it can be in the tropical rainforest of northeast? So the first statement will not be correct. The second statement, they have the ability to produce higher quantities of honey, which is thicker in consistency. This is the one of the major advantage of this Indian honeybee. And this is the mainly differentiator of these bee from the others. The honey produced by these bee mainly the higher quantity and the thicker in the consistency as comparison to the other honeybees. So we can see these honeybees as well. So these are the varieties of the honeybees Apis that are recently founded in the Western Ghats. So the next question is about the removal of the governor. Recently, we see the under which state article it's come. So now the question is about the removal of the governor, and it is from the same news. Initially, we asked about the aid and advice of the governor. The news was same about the Tamil Nadu governor removal to the president, and this is the second type of the question that can be asked on those statements. So, which of the following statements is or are correct about the removal of the governor? The first statement was governor can be removed at any time by president withdrawing pleasure. Yes, because the governor is working under the pleasure of the president, so at any time he can be removed from the office of the president. But when he is removed from the office of the president, if he approached to the Supreme Court, then the central government need to give the reason why the governor was removed. So this is the second statement was, if he approached to any court, Supreme Court or High Court, why the governor was removed, then the central government is become responsible to give answer to the court why the governor was removed. So second statement, it is presumed that the president had compelling and valid reason for the removal, but if a sacked governor comes to the court, the center will have to justify its decision. So it's binding to the central government. They have to justify their decision to the court. That's why I discuss about the governor work under the pleasure of the president, but who gave the aid and advice to the president? The Council of Ministers, Central Council of Ministers gives aid and advice to the president to appoint a governor or to remove a governor from the office. So overall, finally, हम देखें तो authority कौन है? Central government है. But as constitutionally, it is president who can appoint a governor or who can remove a governor. So this was the Article 155 and 156 of the Constitution. A governor is appointed by the president and work under the pleasure of the president and can be removed by the president. So the question number 12 about the exercise. Gruda 7th is the 7th edition of the exercise between. This is the between the India and the France, but there is just some like Gruda Shakti. Gruda Shakti is an exercise between India and Indonesia. And only Shakti exercise exercises between India and France. India and France. Only Gruda between India and France, only Shakti between India and France, but Gruda Shakti is between India and Indonesia. Military exercise है, but after the 2017-18 अभी तक last 3 years में कोई question नहीं पूछा गया डिफेंस पे related to the exercise, but they can ask. So recent में जो exercise हुई हैं, you need to know. जब भी कोई species कोई exercise न्यूज में है तो एक छोटा नोटबुक बना लीजिए, उसमें species न्यूज में है वो लिख लो, उसका IUCN स्टेटस लिख लो, कहाँ पे पाया जाता है, हैबिटेट क्या है, सिमिलर फॉर द एक्सरसाइज, क्या क्या नई एक्सरसाइज न्यूज में. तो फाइनली जब प्रीलिम्स से पहले 1-1.5 महीना पहले बैठोगे तो आपको सर्च करने का जरूरत नहीं है, कोई मुझे एक्सरसाइज दे दे ताकि मैं सारी पढ़ लूं. जबकि कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट में क्या होगा, दे गिव यू ऑल द 150-200 एक्सरसाइज. उसमें से ये इंपॉर्टेंट निकालना मुश्किल हो जाता है कि अब एग्जामिनर क्या पूछेगा. हम उसमें से पहले 10-15 पढ़ लेंगे, लेकिन उसमें भी कंफ्यूजन की कौन सी किसके साथ होती है. तो इट्स बेटर कि अभी से ही एक नोटबुक बनाओ, उसमें जो न्यूज में आ रही है वही लिखो और उसी पे ही क्वेश्चन आता है. अगर आप देखोगे तो लास्ट 10-15 ईयर ट्रेंड्स और यूपीएससी पेपर वो बहुत रेयर है कि वो रैंडमली उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा है. जो भी न्यूज में रही हैं चीजें उनसे ही क्वेश्चन दे कैन आस्क. तो इट्स बिकम इफ दे आर आस्किंग अबाउट द एनी स्पीसीज. 2022 का ही एग्जांपल है, गुच्ची के बारे में पूछा, ग्रीन वॉशिंग के बारे में पूछा, टर्म्स के बारे में, दे ऑल वर इन द न्यूज. विदाउट न्यूज के क्लाइमेट चेंज का भी कोई भी टर्म आएगा ना अगर पेपर में, तो दैट विल ओनली फ्रॉम द लास्ट 1.5 ईयर करंट अफेयर्स. बट लाइक 2021 और 2022 में 2-3 क्वेश्चन थे जो 2 साल से भी पहले के करंट अफेयर से पूछे गए. लेकिन मोस्टली अगर 90% ऑफ पेपर की बात करोगे तो 1.5 ईयर करंट अफेयर्स इज एनफ फॉर योर पेपर. तो ये थोड़े से अलग टिप्स होते हैं क्योंकि 95% नहीं फॉलो करते हैं. जो 5% फॉलो करते हैं वही प्रीलिम्स को क्वालिफाई करके आगे होते हैं, क्योंकि ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं रहता. अगर टॉपर देखोगे जस्ट बाउंड्री क्रॉस कर रहे होते हैं कुछ टॉपर्स प्रीलिम्स का, लेकिन कुछ होते हैं कि जो 100, 120, 130 लेके आ रहे होते हैं. तो डिफरेंस वही रहता है. अगर एक क्वेश्चन भी इधर उधर हो जाता है, यू कैन बी इन, यू कैन बी आउट. तो थोड़ा सा इस चीज पे यू कैन फोकस. विद रेफरेंस टू द ग्लाइफोसेट कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट. ग्लाइफोसेट एक हर्बिसाइड है, इट्स हर्बिसाइड्स. हर्बिसाइड मेनली होते हैं जो एक्स्ट्रा प्लांट को किल करने के लिए यूज होते हैं, सो दैट द जो ओरिजिनल प्लांट है उसका ग्रोथ रुके ना. तो मेनली ग्रोथ इनहिबिटर ना हो, ये एज ए ग्रोथ प्रमोटर काम करते हैं. ग्रोथ प्रमोटर मींस दे कैन किल द अदर वीडीसाइड herbicide so the original plant can grow. But why this herbicide glyphosate is banned by the Indian government? बिकॉज इसकी एक प्रॉपर्टी होती है, अगर हम किसी भी ग्रीन प्लांट्स पे इसको यूज करते हैं तो ये ओरिजिनल प्लांट जिसके लिए यूज किया उसको भी किल कर देता है और वीडीसाइड हर्बिसाइड्स को भी कर देता है. बट दिस इज सक्सेसफुल इन द जेनेटिक मॉडिफाइड क्रॉप्स लाइक बीटी कॉटन. जब बीटी कॉटन का हुआ तो उस टाइम पे हर्बिसाइड्स का यूज होना शुरू हुआ था इसका. तो बट नाउ द पिंक बोलवर्म इज अटैकिंग द बीटी कॉटन एज वेल. तो इसका इम्पैक्ट थोड़ा कम हुआ है हर्बिसाइड्स का. और बिकॉज इंडिया में इतना ज्यादा जीएम क्रॉप्स यूज नहीं होता है, वन वाज गिवन द परमिशन फॉर द बीटी कॉटन एंड नाउ द मस्टर्ड, डीएमएच मस्टर्ड, डीएमएच 11 मस्टर्ड रिसेंटली इसको अप्रूवल मिला है. तो इसका बैन कर द सो दैट द गवर्नमेंट बैन द ग्लाइफोसेट बिकॉज इट्स अफेक्टिंग द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द फार्मिंग सेक्टर एज वेल एज द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द क्रॉप. सो डायरेक्टली हैम्पर करता है फार्मर्स के इंटरेस्ट को और फार्मर्स की इनकम को. तो इसलिए गवर्नमेंट ने इसको बैन कर दिया है. तो रिसेंटली द ग्लाइफोसेट इज बैन्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. तो द स्टेटमेंट वाज इट इज अ ब्रॉड स्पेक्ट्रम herbicide that can control a wide range of weeds. Yes, this is the correct statement. It's a broad spectrum herbicide. It can kill most of the type of weeds or herbicides, but it's also impacting the main plant growth. जिसके लिए हमने इसको यूज किया उसकी ग्रोथ को भी ये इम्पैक्ट करता है डायरेक्टली. Glyphosate application has increased with the advent of genetic modification of the transgenic technology. जैसे जैसे जेनेटिक मॉडिफिकेशन क्रॉप्स आती जा रही हैं तो इसका यूज और ज्यादा इंक्रीज होता गया, क्योंकि इट्स नॉट इंपैक्टिंग द जीएम क्रॉप्स बट द वीडीसाइड. बट अगर नॉर्मल क्रॉप्स में हम इसको यूज करते हैं तो इट्स इंपैक्टिंग द कंप्लीटली क्रॉप एज वेल एज द वीडीसाइड एंड द हर्बिसाइड्स. सो द रिसेंटली द गवर्नमेंट बैन्ड दिस ग्लाइफोसेट. सो द आंसर फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन विल बी 1 and 2. So this is all about today's discussion. We discussed almost 13-14 questions. I think it will be better कि आपको understanding हो जाना चाहिए how when we are reading a newspaper, how to link the statements of the newspaper or the content of the newspaper with the question. If यहाँ पे ये news है restricted herbicides, it is related to the agriculture part. So you need to know the application. आपको इस herbicide का application पता होना चाहिए था, कहाँ कहाँ पे यूज होता है वो पता होना चाहिए था, जीएम क्रॉप्स और नॉर्मल क्रॉप्स में क्या इंपैक्ट है वो पता होना चाहिए था, क्यों बैन हुआ उसके पीछे रीजन पता होना चाहिए था. तो दिस इज हाउ यू कैन लिंक स्टेटमेंट और न्यूज रेफरेंस टू योर सिलेबस एंड हाउ द क्वेश्चन कैन बी फ्रेम्ड फ्रॉम दीज स्टेटमेंट्स. सो दिस इज द मेन आइडिया बिहाइंड टू डिस्कस दिस टाइप. लाइक जब भी मैं डिस्कशन लेता हूँ तो आई ऑलवेज टुक करंट अफेयर्स फ्रॉम द न्यूज़पेपर, why the topic was in the news and how the information can be extracted. If you see some kind of information are not present in the newspaper, so you need to search those information and you need to write in the notebook itself. So it's become a comprehensively covered topic and so you can mark the right answer in the examination without thinking anything. आप जब एग्जाम में बैठते तो आपको लगता है कि टॉपिक तो पढ़ा हुआ है, उसमें से 3 स्टेटमेंट्स में एक आती भी होती हैं, वो 2 ना आने का रीजन यही है, आप लिंकेज नहीं कर पाते हैं, आप वही इंफॉर्मेशन पढ़ते हैं जो सिर्फ दे रखी है न्यूज़पेपर में. उसमें से 3 में से एक ही इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल है बट 2 इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल नहीं है. तो उन 2 इंफॉर्मेशन को अवेलेबल करने के लिए यू नीड टू लिंक द टॉपिक विद द सिलेबस. और सिलेबस में जाके बेसिक्स को देखना है, हाउ इट इज लिंक विद द बेसिक्स एंड व्हाट कैन बी आस्क्ड इन द नेक्स्ट एग्जामिनेशन. वो कहां से पता लगेगा? व्हेन यू गो थ्रू द पीवाईक्यू वेरी वेल. जब तक 6-7 साल 8 साल के प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन नहीं देखेंगे आप अच्छे से, व्हाट इज द पैटर्न ऑफ आस्किंग द क्वेश्चन इन द यूपीएससी, तब तक ये चीजें क्लियर करना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. इट्स लाइक कि एग्जाम में जाते हैं, हमें लगता है कि 60-70 टॉपिक्स हमें नोन है, बट वी आर अटेम्प्टिंग द क्वेश्चन एंड वी आर गेटिंग द आंसर रॉन्ग. सो दिस इज द रीजन बिहाइंड व्हाई वी आर गेटिंग द आंसर रॉन्ग. सो इट्स बिकम अ कम्प्रिहेंसिव स्टडी आपका इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. और करंट अफेयर का इंपॉर्टेंट क्यों है? बिकॉज 30 to 40% ऑफ द पेपर आर डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम द करंट अफेयर्स, इवन इट्स प्रीलिम्स इवन और इट्स मेंस. So without current affairs reading you cannot able to qualify your paper. So it's become a specific major subject in your examination.